away.
All right, thanks, Ross. Good morning, everybody. We are excited to be back in the Valley this week. It's always fun to be able to play at home. It's going to be the last one for a while. I don't think we get back until after Halloween, so we'll be decorating for Christmas next time we play in the Valley, which is crazy. So it's homecoming. This is always a fun week on campus. Just seeing the students, participate in, what's going on, and it's one of those weeks I like to kind of take a different route, and whether I'm going home or coming to work. I actually did that yesterday. I actually went all through campus, and just really cool, just seeing, all the work going on, seeing the Habitat home being built, all the effort that's put into that, seeing all the floats being built, and seeing all the engagement with the students. And it's just kind of something that brings them together and lets them rally around something all week long. So always a fun week. And we've got, as y'all can probably tell with my shirt today, we've got two opponents this week. Obviously, we've got Wake Forest. And we've also got breast cancer awareness. And, starting with Wake Forest, this is a 3-1 football team, a team that, we were more than lucky to win against last year. This is a well-coached team, has been for a long time. They're unique in what they do, which creates some challenges as well. And it's a skilled team, definitely the second best group of receivers that we've seen, along with Florida State. These are very, very skilled, well-coached group of receivers. The quarterback is very talented. He's kind of, they always have a guy at quarterback that's crafty. I guess that's the best way I could describe him. Crafty, gritty. Can make all the throws, runs way better than you want him to run. He's tough, and that kind of seems to always be the mold of the quarterback that's playing at Wake Forest, and he fits that mold. And then they got three really good backs. 6 and 23 have gotten the majority of the carries, but that number 30 is a bruiser. He is a big-time thumper. So I think all three backs are really good. They understand their scheme up front from an offensive line standpoint, and do a nice job. So it's just well coordinated and creates problems. Creates some matchups and conflict with your safeties and your linebackers from a just RPO standpoint, patience. Just by the nature of what they do. And then over on the other side, defensively, they got some dudes up front. They got 5 or 6 guys that they'll play in the D-line. Probably not as deep as they've been, but the first 5 or 6 guys are really good players, especially that number 30. He is a load off the edge. Their linebackers are good players. Number 40 is a transfer kid that's come in there, and he's really having a heck of a year. They're very experienced in the secondary, and they're always one of the best coached secondaries every year that we play. They really, same thing as the offensive side, they really understand their scheme, and they're not all things to all people. They do what they do, and they do it well. They understand leverage and route reading, and just they do a good job with their eyes. So this is a group you've got to be very disciplined when it comes to how you execute in the passing game, from a route running standpoint, and break points and things like that, and influencing your routes. So just a good football team across the board. One we got a lot of respect for, and again, a game when it's just painful to watch the tape from last year. We actually played really, really well on offense, probably our best game, and it was by far our worst game on defense, probably as bad a game as we've had in a long time. They just big played us to death, and so we've got a lot to prove in this game for sure. And you turn on the tape, they'll get your attention. So that's Wake Forest, and then obviously the breast cancer part of it. What we're doing this week, this is the Tigers for Tatas campaign that's being sponsored by SD's Heating and Air. So we appreciate them sponsoring it, and then the Roar WCCP every single year. Probably about 10 years now, have been partnering with our foundation, and it's just awesome to see the community rally and come together, to see all the Roar talent, some of which in this room, just have fun with it and take a lot of pride, and then to see the community give, it's just really cool. So whether it's the shirts, we got hats, we got the bracelets, we got all the cool swag, and then Tigertown Graphics as well has come along, and they partnered up with Roar, so you can get stuff there, you can get it online. Just appreciate everybody's support and what we're trying to do there. And then just a little bit about, a reminder of why we do what we do. About 1 in 8 women in the United States will develop breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. And in 2023 alone, almost 300,000 women and 2,800 men. A lot of people don't know that this affects men. Cass' uncle actually died of breast cancer. And so about 300,000 women and 2,800 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. And on average, every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. So, if we go an hour today, that's going to be, what is that, 30 women? 30 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer just while we're sitting here doing this press conference. So just kind of, hits home there. And an estimated almost 44,000 U.S. women will die from breast cancer in 2023, and an estimated 530 men will die this year in 2023. So it's the second leading cause of cancer death in women, second to lung cancer. And one positive is the breast cancer death rates have been decreasing steadily since 1989, and I think that is a reflection of all the great work that's been done through research, the discovery of the BRCA gene, and all those things. So it's just something that we're passionate about, and very thankful that we've got a lot of great partners, and it's one of those things that I think really rallies everybody together, this time of year. So appreciate all the support and, all that WCCP is doing on location. So, tune in and continue to give and help make a difference, because it's definitely making a difference. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Coach, 2 out of the last 3 years you've lost the game before the bye. Both were at Notre Dame, but how much emphasis is there on just playing a clean game, finishing strong the first half of the season?
Make sure I note that to Graham. Don't schedule Notre Dame the week before the bye. That's what I'm hearing you say. What was the question again? I'm sorry. I just heard Notre Dame loss.
Finishing on a good note.
Oh yeah, it's huge. I mean, you want to always have momentum. Going into the next game, whether you play the next week or you have a bye. You still play next week. You're just playing a bye. Because it's an important week. It's a different type of opponent, but it's still such an important week next week to work on yourself, to get guys healthy, to develop some of your guys, to get some guys some fastball reps that maybe haven't had as many reps. There's a lot. Self-scout. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the bye week. So, yeah, you want to have good momentum. Regardless, again, whether you're coming in on Monday and you just won a game and you got to, play again this week, or it is a bye week, you still want to have that good momentum, because I think it's just wind in your sails as you do what you need to do that week. Yeah, that's our goal, to find a way to get some mo.
Do they look much different offensively? I mean, Hartman would be tough shoes for anyone to fill, but how different are they with this guy now compared to what they were?
Not any different. I mean, they do, like I said, they're very committed and do what they do, and they really understand what they do. It's very unique. This quarterback's been around. It's not like he just got there. So, he's a good player. And again, he's supported by a very, very good group of receivers. They've got 4 or 5 guys that can flat out play, and then all 3 of those running backs are impressive on tape. They've had a couple guys in and out of the lineup up front, so they've had an open date to get ready for this game. So I'm sure they probably maybe get somebody back healthy, and they've had a little more time to do some things. So I'm sure we'll see a few wrinkles that maybe we haven't seen yet. But good team, and has had a chance to win every game. at 3-1, and it was kind of tight right there at the end with Tech, and kind of just boom, got away right there at the last little series.
Sam had kind of been in that system for so long on that slow match. It seemed like he held it until the very last possible second while reading.
Yeah.
Is Griffiths able to do that, the QB now?
Yeah. He not only does he do it, then he blocks. He'll butt block people all day. He'll ride it all the way in there, and then give him a nice little momentum push along the way, and oh, by the way, try to cut off your end with a body block. So no, he's a crafty player, and again, he's got some experience. It's not like he hasn't played. He's a good player. You can tell he's a veteran guy and really understands it. He can make all the throws too. I mean, he'll throw the deep stop, to the field from the opposite hash. I mean, he's confident, and I mean, they must throw. And again, a lot of it's just the nature of what they do. It kind of forces the issue a little bit in having to create some matchups, because you can't just sit there and just play zone coverage on them the whole game, because they'll distort you big time with all the, forever RPO stuff, and he'll hit pockets. So there's times you gotta cover them, and I mean they must throw it. It must be 10 deep shots a game, easy, every single game. I mean, I'm talking about load it up and let it launch, and it just comes down to making a play. And we were really poor at that last year. I mean, they made they either made the play or we had a PI, and it really wasn't much in between. And it was just a crazy game. We were so bad, and we've come a long way, since that game last year defensively. I mean, those guys are really playing well, and it's going to take a great effort this week to slow these guys down a little bit, and hopefully, but it all goes back to the line of scrimmage. You've got to try to create some duress, for the quarterback. You let that guy sit there and hold the ball, and you let the mesh just take as long as they want it to take. It creates some problems.
I feel like last year with this game, we were talking about that youth of your secondary in particular, and it's kind of a fun point, I think, to acknowledge some of that growth in that group specifically, because they were a concern going into that game because of that youth there, and just the progress they've made and who they are and their identity at this point now.
Yeah, it's just night and day. I mean, we were so bad, and they were really good too. You got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, those receivers were outstanding. They had Scary Terry was there. He's probably somewhere in the NFL now. I don't know where he's at, but he's probably somewhere. Anybody know? Did he get drafted? He's got to be somewhere. He was a great one, and then obviously Hartman was a great player too, and so they had a really veteran group across the board on both sides of the ball, and just a really good football team. So we didn't play the double moves well. We didn't play the deep ball well. We didn't disguise well. We didn't tackle well. Our technique was poor, and we got exposed. Nate kind of grew up. That was kind of a night that I think he in particular realized, he needed to get better, from attention to detail and things like that. And we've been the two areas that y'all know I said coming in, we have to be better with our pass offense and our pass defense, and we have really greatly improved in both of those areas. So that's been a real positive, and hopefully that'll hold up on Saturday.
Yeah, you guys have the best is the standard phrase. What's it like to be one of the few programs in the country that could realistically have a phrase like that? And then what's it like for you to have your coaches and players have to live up to that every day or every week?
Yeah, well, I mean, the standard, it's the standard is, I mean, we started that when I got the job, and it's a lot of people, especially with the success that we've had over, last 12 years or so, people think that it means, the best. It isn't. That's not what it means. It's about being our best, your best. Best is the standard, is about being and doing your best in everything that you do. It's not about that, and that's an inward focus, and I think that's what a lot of people, they again, as our program has developed, they take that the wrong way. It's never been about being the best. When you're just focused on being the best, then you to me, that's dangerous because you're comparing yourself to other people. And that's a dangerous way to live your life, living your life from the outside in. What I believe is if you are truly committed, I just don't think you can be the best until you get committed to being your best. Whatever the best version of you is. And that's what we've always said forever and ever and ever. We're on a quest for best. And, a quest for best. Well, it's the best we can be. Sometimes things happen that, are out of your control. And sometimes you're not maybe quite not good enough to be the best. But you can be your best. And I think that's what God created us all to be and to do. That's what all in is. It's about a commitment to being and doing your best. And I think if you get everybody collectively bought into that standard and it's not just being your best as a football player or as a coach, it's about being your best in everything that you do. Really truly making excellence a habit in every area of your life. So, hey, maybe the best I can do is a C in this class. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. But if your best is, you can make a B, but you're settling for a D, then that's a problem. So it's just getting everybody to understand the commitment of, hey, let's be our best. And that's just a mindset of taking what we do have and making the best of it. And I think that's what successful people do. And I mean, the way we built this program was just taking what we had and making the best of it. And then just always staying on that quest for best. How do we get better? How do we become a better version of ourselves, whether it be as a player, as a coach, programmatically, whatever it is, and just continuing to go. So, that's really what it means. And, for some people, it may just simply be, the best, but I just don't, that's never been our focus here. But I do believe if you get a group of people together collectively committed to that standard, committed to being and doing their best, hey, you might have a chance to be the best. We'll see. But you got no chance to be the best at anything you do in life until you learn how to be your best. And so that's what Best is the Standard is all about. And, it starts with, we break that down. It starts with belief. B is for belief. You got to believe. You got to have an unshakable belief in yourself, in who you're working with and the things that you do. You have to have a belief. Even when life comes along and creates doubt and circumstances happen that you don't like that make you not want to believe, you have to have a belief. The E is for effort. You got to put the work in. Nothing great's going to happen. You're never going to be the best version of you if you don't put the steps in. You got to have great work ethic. And then the S is for you got to seize the day with a sense of urgency. Every single day you wake up, man, hey, let's win the day. Let's seize the day. Let's have purpose in what we do. And the T is for toughness. It takes toughness to be your best because life happens, right? Life happens. And life happens and things happen where, you doubt and fear sets in and you don't believe, or you just don't feel like putting the effort in that day, or you certainly you wake up and it's just like, man, you just don't want to seize the day. You don't have that sense of urgency. Well, that's what the T's for, toughness, because you got to do it anyway. And that you'll never become your best if you don't have the toughness that it takes, because we all have setbacks and things like that. So that's what Best is the Standard is all about. Just being the very best that you can be, and continuing to be a lifelong learner. As you go through that process.
Some right-handed quarterbacks aren't comfortable going to their left. Your guy seems to be pretty good at it. Is that something you have always seen? Is that something that's evolved? Is that something Garrett's introduced to the package this year?
No. I mean, he's just, that's just a natural gift that the kid's got. I mean, you certainly work on, throwing to the right, throwing to the left. We work scramble drill. That's a part of what you do from a prep standpoint. But you can work it all day long. You just got to have a gift, and he's just gifted that way. I mean, he's an excellent pocket thrower, but he's an excellent scramble thrower as well. And that's just one of the things that makes him special, for sure.
Coach, 4.4 penalties a game, that's your fewest since 2014. 2018 team had 4.9. You said that this is one of the most accountable teams that you've ever had. Is that manifesting itself in turnover or penalty avoidance?
Yeah, if we didn't have the turnovers, we'd be 5-0. But that's football. I mean, you're talking about these are our best players we got, the most committed guys we got, and sometimes in football the ball can bounce some crazy ways for you. But this team, I'm really proud of them, and they've done a great job from a penalty standpoint. They've really done a good job in every area. I mean, we've played tough, physical. We've outgained every opponent. We've had more first downs than every opponent. We've had an elite third down team offensively and defensively. We just have had, one really tough statistic that has cost us, and a lot of it's been self-inflicted, and that's why we are where we are. But we got to battle, and that's what I love about last week's game. I mean, it was like a perfect storm to have a bad day, right? The undefeated team, top 10 offense and defense, coming off a gut-wrenching loss, and man, it was awesome to see our team respond and to see the veterans on the team respond. Right out of the gate, 2 6-year seniors set the tone, for the night, and just really proud of our team and our staff. And how they've handled themselves, and again, just managed disappointment, we're still on a quest for best, and be the very best we can be, and just trying to find a way to win this game this week. And I love this team. I really do. I love how they're playing the game. As I've said many times, I've had some 5-0 teams that hadn't played as well, but have had a better result. This team just had some tough football breaks along the way, but those things count. And so we'll see how it all plays out in the end. But this is a team that's got a great spirit to them, got excellent leadership, and incredibly accountable.
We love a local guy, Tyler Brown. Can't seem to talk enough about him. Another big game this weekend. Now some conference recognition for him as well. What is it about your system that we see another freshman having that breakout year at that receiver position? We saw it last year, certainly. And then what is it about him that you are challenging with him now as he starts to see some of this success?
Yeah, well, first of all, just God's favor that we got him. He's a kid that we had been evaluating, but we had a kid decommit, and boom, the world's coming to an end, right? A kid decommits, and that we really wanted, but man, that's why, I just look at it as God's favor, I always focus on who we do get. I go back to one year we had a defensive lineman that was committed, and he ends up decommitting, but we got this guy named Shaq Lawson who wasn't as highly rated, and I think Shaq's still playing, and ended up being a first-round draft pick. So, it's a blessing that we got him, first of all, that how it worked out. So really proud of him. Great family. He's a Clemson kid. I got pictures with him at the Rock when he was like, maybe a little shorter than he is now. He was a little bitty guy, and his dad, just really good family. It's really cool. This kid loves Clemson. But I mean, we play the best player. I mean, that's despite what some people may think. Every now and then, we want to win, and we play the best player, and it's all based on what we see in practice and what we watch on tape. And as we went through camp, it became evident pretty quick that hey, this kid's going to be able to help us. And but then you got to go play games, right? I mean, it's one thing to see things in practice, and how's it going to show up and translate? And right out of the gate, he's showing up, and he's just continued to progress. And then with Antonio getting hurt, it's just forced the issue even more, opportunity for him, and he's taking full advantage of it. And that's what the great ones do, And so we've had a lot of great players. We've had freshmen start at every position on this team. We've had freshman running backs, freshman left tackles, freshman right tackles, freshman guards, freshman quarterbacks, receivers, freshman not sure if we had a freshman linebacker start. Maybe. We've had freshman DBs. We've had freshman D linemen, D tackles, D ends. We've had freshmen start at every position on this football team over the course of my time here. So it's just all based on what we see in practice and competition. But he's the kid that's earned it. We haven't given him anything. I mean, kid's just earned it. So it's exciting to know that you got a guy like that that's, going to be around here for at least 3 more years.
How much mental and physical toughness has he shown fighting through those?
Oh man, he's a warrior, man. He's incredible physical toughness and mental toughness. I mean, just and he had no issues last week, but he's still a little sore. Really proud of him. I mean, he's a guy that's just got a lot of confidence, and it's just you can see the chemistry. It's amazing what happens when you make plays. It's amazing how that ball just finds you. It's like a magnet. So I'm really proud of him.
He was a pretty good high school basketball player.
Yeah.
That kind of made it true. Do you ever, if a guy's a good wide receiver, but do you ever see the carryover of a skill set from basketball into playing receiver?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, he was more of a basketball guy. He didn't really make up his mind. He kind of made that full commitment kind of in high school, I guess, that all right, looks like football is going to be my best path. But honestly, the best receivers we've had have been great basketball players. All of them, because it's when you play basketball, it's natural to transition and you're not just a straight line guy. You're always changing direction. You're double moving. It's natural to high point balls. It's a natural thing, and you can pretty much all of them were basketball players across the board. Even if they didn't necessarily play, I don't think Hunter played basketball his senior or junior year in high school, but I've played a lot of basketball with Hunter. He's pretty good. He can play. He's explosive. He can jump. He can change direction. His jump shot's just average, but but he can finish. At the rim. So. I think it's a natural. And then we've had some guys that really were more basketball players than receivers. Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Nuke Hopkins, that really had to develop. They were behind as a receiver, but they really developed. That's the thing about Tyler is that's what really shocked me more than anything about him is just how polished he was. From the opening practice. It was pretty obvious that, okay, man, this kid gets it. So proud of him.
Coach Lambert is in his second year as their defensive coordinator. I guess he was there under Grove as well, but 4 sacks a game. How have you seen their defense improve under him?
Yeah, structurally they're similar in a lot of ways, but they, I think it all goes back to Coach Clausen, man. I mean, these I don't think it matters who coaches there. Dave's going to have them guys playing hard. He's going to have them sound. They're going to be well coached, and that's what you see. Guys that get after you up front. We'll probably, you're going to get a similar deal as last week. Probably have to catch a lot of movement with these guys, downhill linebackers, and then, coverage-wise, they'll mix it up. But they're always one of the best, groups we play against from a secondary standpoint. They got DBs all over the NFL. Wake Forest does. They got guys everywhere. I mean, they do a really good job, I think, of evaluating guys and then developing them within their system. Coach Lambert, man, I got a lot of respect for him. He's a great coach. He's been around, and he's a head coach as well. And he understands Wake Forest. And again, just when you turn on the tape, it's like rinse and repeat, right? I mean, every year watch Wake Forest. I mean, they're just a tough, well-coached football team.
With TJ Parker being as productive as he's been so far, does he remind you of any other freshmen you've had that were really productive early? And what's allowing him to kind of do so much in these first 2 games? Yeah,
well, same thing I would say with Tyler Brown, maturity, number one. I mean, I think you have to really have just an abnormal level of maturity for an 18-year-old, first of all, to be able to prepare and absorb and translate everything that's going on. There's just a lot. The fact that he came in January certainly has helped him, because I think he was able to really take advantage of the off-season program. He got a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And but he I think coming from where, Central Phoenix City High School, which is a big time program, a bunch of great players. They play at a high level. Coach Nix there does an amazing job. I mean, he had a D-line coach who really, I think, did an awesome job teaching him. He was very advanced technically and mentally coming in here, so that certainly helps him. But it all goes back to his maturity and his just what's inside him. I mean, he's got a will to win, a will to prepare that's unique as a freshman, and it's the same as Tyler Brown, same as Khalil Barnes, same as Peter Woods. That whole group. Some of them you see and right now. Some of them you don't. Like let me tell you, Hoffler is going to be a player. Ojebwe, those are kids you hadn't really seen much yet. Jamal Anderson, D. Creighton, Avion, Shelton, Strozier. I mean, we got a whole group of guys. Robert Billings, Kylan Webb. I mean, it's a bunch of guys in that class that we are super, super excited about, that I think, some have had more opportunity than others, and TJ's had obviously a little more opportunity just based on our personnel, and he's taken advantage of it. But the one word is maturity. He's just a very mature, focused kid that you would never think is a freshman. And Tyler's the same way.
Dabo, you talked so much about how this team responds and how they should respond. What does response come from? Is that something you practice? Is that how they are as individuals, how they grow up? Or how do you get somebody to respond in the right way?
It's all the above. I mean, I think it's just what we do every day, how we go about our business around here. I didn't even know this until after the game. I'm glad I didn't know it. But I didn't know we hadn't lost back-to-back games in a season since 2011, 13 years. I mean, I'm eventually, one of these days, I'm sure that'll happen, and we'll suck. But that's. I mean, to me, there's nothing more that says who we are as a program than that right there. I think maybe Alabama, because I was trying to figure out when Tim was the one that told me it after the game, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't know that going into it, but now I do. So that's not a good thought. But no, I think there's nothing that says more who we are than that right there. 13 years. I mean, it just means we respond. We keep moving. We've always talked about having a windshield mentality around here. Whether you have a big win or you have a tough loss, you know what? Hey, we got to. It's eyes forward. We got to move forward. We can't live with our eyes in the rearview mirror, right? I mean, nobody cares. I mean, if y'all get in the car and y'all drive home with your eyes in the rearview mirror, you're going to run in a ditch. So, I just think it's culturally who we are, and all of them. It's who comes through the door. It's what's happening within the walls. It's how we practice. It's how we meet. It's how we process success, process disappointment. All of those things I think is a part of that. But that's probably as good a stat as you could have. Because again, it's not always going to be I wish we never lost a game ever. It'd be great, but you wouldn't. If you never had a bad day, you wouldn't know what a good day is.
You talked about Nate and Antonio that they're going to work out on Monday. How did that go?
It was good. They looked pretty good last night. So today will be a big day because we'll load them up a little bit more today with some pads and kind of see how it goes. But I thought they both moved around pretty good last night. So, I mean, we're hopeful, but nothing definite right now.
You just classify it as day-to-day right now?
Yes. Yes.
Is there any thought in terms of there being a bye week that it could be beneficial to give them extra time? Does that factor at all?
We just need to win this game. I mean, whatever it takes to win the game. If they're ready to play, they'll play. We don't have any. We don't have the luxury of looking ahead. We just got to lock in on what gives us the best chance to win this week. And again, we certainly wouldn't put them in harm's way or anything like that. But if no thought of, well, we can win this game, let's hold this guy. No, this is all hands on deck. We got to do everything we can to find a way to win this game.
Saying that, Mason Kelly, what do you?
Yeah.
I think twice now. So
He's got 2 more games. He's got 2 more games, and we're going to try to hold him. That's our plan. He's actually got a little bit of he's going to have a little surgery as well, which we know, and we know we've kind of got a timeline on when we're probably going to have to do that. But he's got a couple more games, and actually got in there, and he's moving around pretty good. He's practicing. Had a really good practice last night. As a matter of fact, he was one of the guys last night that just jumps out. And he's another guy that I would put with Tyler Brown. He is a very mature kid. He is a baller, and the guy's conscientious. He can do so many things. He just hasn't had the opportunity yet, and he played in a game, then he was out, a little injury, and then we're going to hold him. And then with Antonio, we said, all right, well, let's go ahead and play him a game here or there, just give us a backup right there. But I'm super excited about Tink. I mean, this kid is going to be a good player for us. He's going to be able to do a lot of things as he goes. But same thing, he's got a high level of maturity, and he's a winner. Kid's a winner. Really, really like him.
What's his surgery?
He's got something that he's kind of dealt with since high school that we'll have to fix. Nothing long term or anything like that, but it's something that's going to have to happen. And we've got it set up to where, because we want him to be back for off season, January, spring training, and all that stuff. So we've got a good plan in place there.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
You were talking about Dave, you referenced Clausen and stuff, and what about that coaching staff? I mean, there's so many veteran guys, Kevin Higgins, etc.
Yep.
And what just makes that staff harder for you guys to prepare?
Yeah, well, Kevin Higgins, first of all, he's one of my favorite people in the coaching profession. I think he's just a great person and a heck of a football coach. In fact, I think he coached Clausen, if I remember correctly. I think Dave told me that. I think Dave played for him at some point, or maybe Dave worked for him.
He definitely was on his staff.
Maybe he worked for Higgins, but they're just they all they all understand who they are, their system. I think they're a bunch of great evaluators, and I think they're a bunch of great teachers that really, and I think Dave would be the first one to tell you that's been a huge part of their success at Wake Forest. They have probably out-evaluated some people along the way, and then they have done just an excellent job of developing these guys. But he's just put a great staff together, and those guys obviously like each other. They believe in how they go about doing things. They believe in Wake Forest and what the university stands for, and so just great chemistry and synergy amongst that group. So a good mix. I think Glenn Spencer's on that staff too. He's been around a while and has coached a lot of good players in his day as well.
For the recruiting question, the policy y'all have of once a guy commits, don't visit other schools. Do you remember when you kind of first put that in place, and why do you consider that such an important part of kind of the way y'all do things?
Well, I mean, that's been that way for a long time. So, I mean, we just talk about, we don't offer a lot of guys, so we talk about what commitment means. Honestly, I try to talk guys out of committing, and so it's a conversation we have, and it's not like something we don't ever talk about, but that's been that way for a long time.
Anything to reflect on being on the verge of number 165?
No, I mean, not right now. I mean, I appreciate the question, but not right now. I mean, if it happens, we can talk about it, I guess. But right now, we need to just find a way to win a game, and that's all we need to focus on.
Dabo, I'm curious. October, the start of fall for everybody. We have got fall festivities, pumpkin carving, apple orchards, pumpkin spice. Is there any festivities you like to do outside of football?
Any activities I like to do outside of football? Well, I mean, I don't really have a lot of time. There's a lot of things I like to do, but there's just time is a problem this time of year. I came home, I guess, I don't remember what, maybe it was Sunday. I don't know, I'd been there for a while, but I hadn't really noticed them. But Kath had like 20 little bitty pumpkins laid out in the garage. I don't know what she's doing with them, but I saw them. I think I noticed them Sunday. But yeah, I just don't have a lot of time to do much this time of year other than just I exercise. I like to run. I usually play basketball once a week. Work out, run. Go to church. I don't really have much time for anything, but there's a lot I like to do. So I watch football. I like to do that.
Dabo, it's a time of year where the conversation of pink washing and kind of over-leaning into the breast cancer awareness thing and being aware of where your donations are actually going is a conversation that's happening. It's a month that's now as pink as it is orange for Halloween. It's something, though, that you spend a lot of time on. It's in breast cancer awareness is obviously you have your event during the summer, and it's something that's touched you personally, touched so many of your players and fellow coaches. Can you just elaborate on why this is so important and why it's still important to be bringing this awareness and why it's personal for you?
Yeah, well, almost 44,000 women are going to die from breast cancer this year. And probably about 30 women were diagnosed while this press conference is going on. And it's personal. That's the best way I can answer that. I think we're all, as people, we're all shaped by things that we experience in life, right? I mean, we're affected by those things. We all have scars from events in our life. And if you have lost a loved one to cancer, I mean, my dad died of cancer, of lung cancer. And, to go back and forth to Greenville and watch him, do chemo and radiation and to be in a room of people, that's not a traumatic thing to deal with. And to watch my father-in-law, who's a pancreatic cancer survivor, I mean, he's still alive. He's a miracle. He's in the 2%. It's just crazy. He was diagnosed the same year as my dad, and in 2015, and he's still alive. It's incredible. And to what we went through with Lisa, Cass's sister, with breast cancer. She was diagnosed, she beat it, and then it came back, 9-10 years later. And, she's got, you have an image of her son, Jacob, bringing his prom date to the hospital when she's intubated. And these are images that are just forever with you. And the pain that we went through, because Lisa was in the hospital for months. And we watched her just wither. And, you got an 8th grade son. You got a junior, senior in high school. For almost 2 years, they dealt with this until she passed in 14. And so it's just a traumatic experience. It was just traumatic, devastating, for my in-laws, Kath and her, her sisters and brother, and then for us, because of breast cancer research that people didn't have back in the day, because her cousin had it as well in California, and the doctors said, hey, we need to get tested. And I'll never forget ever, Kath was 35 years old. We were in the middle of the season, and when she had a double mastectomy, because right before we started the season, we went to Greenville to some genetic doctor because she had the test, and I'll never forget that. I'm like, she's healthy as she can be, and it's when you get that news, and then what does that mean? Well, it basically means you got about a 90% chance of developing breast cancer, and we got 3 little boys, and she made a decision, a very brave decision, and I really believe that she's with us now. She most definitely if she hadn't, she would have developed breast cancer. That's what we know based on all these years of research that has been funded. And so, it's important because again, we've been shaped by that. I've had several players who've lost their sister, lost their mom. Obviously, Jeremiah Trotter and what we just dealt with, with this disease, and it's something we're passionate about. And the thing is if it's detected early, you have a great opportunity to beat it. But a lot of times it's not detected early. That's, we've been able to fund 2 mobile mammography buses. We just committed to help fund a 3rd. And, to be able to provide free mammograms to people who probably wouldn't get them otherwise is saving lives, because it's, again, if you detect it early, you have a good chance. And a lot of women don't. I mean, what we're dealing with Julie Venables right now and what she's going through. It affects everybody. And so it's just something that, again, to answer your question, why is it's personal. And when we started the foundation in 2010, we really just kind of built the foundation based on things that were personal to us, whether it be drug and alcohol addiction, whether it be educational things like Call Me Mister, the Clemson Life, special needs, and breast cancer, awareness, research, and as you said, funding. We've been very specific on what we do with the funds to where it goes directly to this community, and it's not just going off to, and again, there's nothing wrong with those things, but we just wanted to really impact and be hands-on with where the money goes, because there's so many great organizations out there. We've got people on this campus that are doing great research. We've had people at Anderson doing great research. Obviously, the hospitals around here, and then the buses. It's been amazing. And every time I see that bus and see the logo on there, it's really cool. And that's what the All In Foundation's all about. Everybody coming together and trying to use the platform that we have and that we've been blessed with to bless other people. So it's just personal, and it just comes through traumatic experience of dealing with it, and people who've had a loved one and have walked that journey with them, they understand. And if you haven't experienced that, you will. That's sooner or later.